We'll welcome Professor Yi-Cheng Zhang, professor from the University of Fribourg in Switzerland, and he is an expert in complex networks, cloud computing, and big data processing. Professor Zhang, welcome.
Honored to be here, to be invited, especially in a session that started with Brian Arthur. And one remark that I'm still in physics department, and today this morning session, I believe that Stefan also originated as a theoretical physicist, and me too. And Brian Arthur, that's in Santa Fe Institute, is heavily, influenced among physicists. So, but ever since I visit Santa Fe Institute in the 90s, especially with Brian Arthur, that I get interested in the, so my research actually around information and the economy. So 3 years ago, I published this book. And so today I give an outline of how this is relevant to further extend building on the complexity economics of Brian Arthur. That's Brian wrote a very nice appraisal that's here. Okay, so and also in the 90s I visited Alfaro bar. This is a famous Alfaro problem of by Brian Arthur, and then inspires me with my student. We did a book on this, just extending the details. What's the implications in the Alfaro model? So I wouldn't go into these details today. I take one step back to look at what is complex in economics, and is there some kind of coherent structure in this? So, so instead of all the details, I probably in this short period of time to give us some kind of perspective, what kind of coherent structure, which all different forms of complexity economics, what we do. So basically there are two, at the core of Brian Arthur's brand of complexity economics, which I call it because he really gives a foundation. So basically you have individual agents, the humans, so who are with limited information, but different information, different targets, aims, and mutual relations, and the capabilities. I put a different color to emphasize that later on I want to give more examples of this. So the complex realities, the markets, task constraints, etc. So we will see that the complexity in economics actually explore the relation between the two human agents and with the tasks, tools, and the technology. And so I probably summarizing with a picture now. So you have complex realities, and the human agents have perceptions, and Brian just told us this is beliefs and theories and ideas. So generally I will call it as perceptions. And then they are economic agents. They will take actions. They will create new realities because they learn something, they have certain task, and they create new reality. And this can go on and on. And so this is not a cycle, goes back to the starting point. Actually, it's a kind of a spiral of things. And in the Brian this morning talk, he already hinted this. So with the picture, so the agents still could be the same, the agents, but why this will lead to slightly different paths spiraling out, like an open-end evolution, because agents during such a process and learn new tricks, new technologies over long scale, over the short time span, maybe some tools, maybe new ideas, and from morning to evening may already change something. Okay, so over a long time span, you may see technology change, tectonic big shift in, like Brian Asher says, over 40 years, you have huge industry revolution happening. But all scales, you have such spiral things. So this is actually the key message by the complexity economics. So today, in the rest of my minutes, I want to give some examples. So I quote in recent article by Brian Asher in Nature Perspective. It's very nice summary, and within 8 to 10 pages, sums very nice what he meant by complexity economics. So I believe it's an invitation piece that's written by Brian. So I quote one word: the economics always creates itself alive and full of messy vitality. So I'm going to see that's a messy reality. That's you will see so many details in any economic context, but there's something coherent, and always this interplay between human agents and reality. And this we will see a methodology or even a working agenda will emerge. Of course, this morning's talk is more on the technology side. So I'm going to emphasize the human and the human agents and the messy reality things. Okay, so I'm going to take a consumer market, which is very messy, and happens to be also the main subject, main topic, main focus of the early Alibaba. So dealing with the consumers market. Of course, now is much more beyond the consumer market, but the consumer market also happens to be also in textbook, economic textbooks. You start with supply demand. So I give this simple picture. Suppose that people observe that certain products with higher quality, higher quality price typically are higher priced, but not always strict correlation. So I call this as dots. Dots means observation. There are some consumers may be clever and paying recent price get higher quality, and somebody newbie not that clever and same price but low quality. But if you do any kind of such statistics, you will find a lot of dots. So in general, we are tempted to draw a line, and even more tempted to draw a causality conclusion, meaning that in order to obtain higher quality products, all you have to do is to pay a high price. But from an individual point of view, from the human point of view, many factors will be washed out by such a simple conclusion, because maybe someone is more knowledgeable, maybe someone have experience, or maybe someone talking to more experienced consumers, or even more. Those things happen all the time. But most important, what if the organizations like Alibaba or many other companies like TripAdvisor, building platform letting consumers, experienced consumers especially, to share the experience with others, such that you can get a systematic bias for the better relation between quality and price. And there is some statistics that the TripAdvisor users typically will get better deal for the same price, okay? So if you just believe such a simple, just draw a line, and you would say, okay, this is what I can do. But if you build institutions, private institutions like Alibaba, and many, in the US you have Yelp, you have TripAdvisor, and etc. So you build such a platform, you can help. So it's a different methodology, okay? So if, on the other hand, if we believe just the causality, okay, paying the high price, I will get a better quality. If scholars, we will see that maybe this is a new classical economics, typically we draw lines, we get conclusions. So suppose you believe this line, if scholars can convince all the consumers, oh, there's no free lunch, and all you have to do, pay higher price. If everybody believes this, they stop using their personal knowledge or sharing, how to say, to use knowledge sharing. Then actually what I observed causality relation may drop. There's a degradation of this. So there are, through, of course, such a picture is purely is like a cartoon picture. But and in the new classical economics, there are many such examples, and it's like typically you have this I call curves. That's the efficient market hypothesis, and etc. Of course, many of economic colleagues here, they no longer adhere to such, but just as a comparison to what the so-called complex economics means. So agent here, I make slightly more how to say, the decomposition. There are scholars, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and the dots means the usual suspect, like CEOs, managers, traders. But these two are also important, okay? So they are, the scholars, of course, is more the new classical types, and they are the entrepreneurs that they do not really follow, of course, fortunately, do not follow the teachings. That's okay, this is the best you can do, but they build institutions. Okay, so here I want to have one emphasis on the human perceptions. So often we have seen in the cross-discipline research, in the especially in the economics, that's we say, okay, we compare with hard science like physics. Often we read the textbooks, is almost like physics textbooks, the economics 101. So there, in physics actually, we do plot curves all the time. In biology also. Why so? Because there's no human perception involved in physics and biology. We can measure the dots or curves over until we find a good theory to describe it. Oh, that's it. Because the phenomena we are going to study have no feedback on those who propose theories. But for the social phenomena, especially economics, economic phenomena, and we have to pay attention to the dots, not to pay attention to lines, curves, we have to pay dots, because so many other factors, cognitive factors are involved, and building some kind of systematic institutions might improve or can degrade as well. So what the methodology works well for physics and biology may not work, or even harmful if we generalize the methodology of physics and biology to social phenomena. Yeah. So this is what the key message. So there are two worldviews. Of course, that's the scientific schools already emphasized this many times. That is, one worldview is this is equilibrium. Another one is complexity in economics process. And Brian Arthur already this morning, that is give us the idea that so the one technology calls for the other, and then among them, so quite complicated. However, that's the interesting part, because any process like a new technology replaces the old ones, and in the shorter run, we have tools, we have new ideas and knowledge and the objective. All process need time. During this time, the constraints, objectives often change. So you don't have the fixed set of problems to solve. You don't have fixed boundaries within which you maximize. So one of the key consequence of this complexity in economics is that dealing with the process need time, during which the human agents adjust themselves, technology as well, of course. So then this leads to the, of course, one is the process. When we speak of process, there must be an evolution. And this evolution, of course, in mainstream economics, we have Nelson-Winter type of evolution. But that is not really open-ended evolution, because there is, how to say, there is no end point that any process will evolve to, and within fixed boundary. So the complexity in economics is there's no fixed boundary. So when agents are pursuing their targets, so agents willingly or inadvertently. So just give you one example. In the old days, when we pursue economic goals, and then we found that, oh, environmental get damaged. So you have to take one step back, see, okay, I have to shut down those heavy polluters. So there are consequences without being planned. But more importantly, sometimes we can use this open-ended evolution to willingly to push the boundary or push the target towards desired goal, like a carbon trade, whatever these things. So in this never-ending dynamic process. Is open-ended. So often we compare this with the natural selection. So natural selection actually is a very good inspiration, but it's not strictly the same thing. In the new type of economics, this complex economy, so we would be dealing with informational selection, because selectors no longer the nature. Nature is like a God select. If you are hungry, you cannot pretend to be able to survive without food. But the informational selection, human select humans. And so therefore, there's a lot of failures and errors, but there's also, of course, there's successes. So in the informational selection, we worry, or we are more concerned with how to get a selection power higher. Okay, so there's some analogy of informational selection in the biology. You have the sexual selection. When choosing mates, you have put a lot of wasted resources to pretend to be something. Of course, the signaling theory by Spence and Cheddar, that's very interesting. So this would belong to the informational selection, but not the natural selection. So, okay. So what can we do? So in the last, in this slides, let's give one comparison that one in this messy a world, what can we do? So in the view of complexity economics, so scholars and join hands with the entrepreneur to build institutions, design market rules, and promote this informational selection powers and influence the evolution. Okay, influence the evolution. So they are in the view of complexity economics is that whatever we do or we don't do will impact the world around us. And so scholars cannot pretend to be neutral observers. So I stop here. Thank you very much.